There was this really beautiful moment when I was pouring the first water into the bottles. You have the sense of you're taking stewardship of this water, so we don't stand here alone, we stand here supported by the 500 contributors.
The City of Melbourne's Creative Spaces program is partnering with the Carlton Connect Initiative's Lab 14 at the old Women's Hospital site, and we've established a studio inside that space where artists can collaborate with researchers and academics to produce artistic works on the themes of resilience and sustainability.
We received a grant from the City of Melbourne and this incredible residency space.
We've created 2 artworks that work together. The first artwork is the work that you see on the wall, and that is making water visible. The second artwork is this artwork, which is called the Water Harvest.
And they're both a part of the Catchments Project. Making water visible, we wanted to give a real sense of visual presence and identity to Melbourne's water system and figure out how they all feed into one natural system.
They brought together 3 different elements of mapping Melbourne's water, which had previously not been overlaid. Underground water, sort of surface water, and then your rivers and creeks.
The material that we worked with is a type of radiant perspex, and it's the modern counterpart of NASA spacesuit helmet glass. It responds to the viewer's presence. It actually changes colour depending on where you stand on it, the angle at which you're viewing it. And the beautiful thing about it is that as it changes, it gives that sense of the water system being something that is changing, that is alive, that's contributing to the life of our city in terms of sustainability.
Once it's up on the wall, it begins to look like some sort of living organ or organism, capillaries, and I mean, to me it has a really sort of almost anthropomorphic appearance to it. So I think that's also really interesting in terms of people's engagement. You know, sometimes people say water is life, and in that image you see that metaphorically and literally.
The second artwork, the Water Harvest, was a way of celebrating all of the people around the City of Melbourne that do something to save water. So people that have water tanks, or people that put a bucket under the sink as they turn the hot water on to collect that water and use it on their gardens. We got 500 people to collect water and bring water samples in. So that's 500 people that have actively engaged in the artwork.
And we would in return present their water samples in this beautiful installation, and every single bottle is significant because it marks a person. It has their name and it has their geographic map coordinates of where the water was harvested from.
The installation process of the bottles was getting people to come in with their water, and then we also spent quite a few days out on the road, going to schools, going to the Carlton bars, going to the Shrine of Remembrance, galleries and alike, going around picking up water.
Making water visible maps Melbourne's natural catchment system, whereas the Water Harvest maps our man-made system. And so we wanted to find a way to bring the two together to talk about the connection of how those 2 artworks can create a sustainable environment together. So it is about how the changes that we make in our everyday lives in terms of saving water, how they will impact the greater whole of the situation. So we chose to actually make the ocean section of the map mirrored, so you'd be able to see the reflection between the 2 artworks and get that kind of that connection.
The City of Melbourne has a big role to play in the preservation of water and climate change, and we understand the science on climate change and understand that we need to take that leading role. So for example, recently City of Melbourne spent $20 million on stormwater harvesting programs to capture that runoff and reuse that water, and that's just part of what we need to do to make sure that our city is healthy and resilient for the future.
Working with science data makes information that's really hard to grapple with so much easier when it's in a visual form.
The scientific message, which scientists and policymakers have been trying to get out for the last 20 years, just hasn't been cutting through sufficiently. And we think that by engaging the emotions, by engaging the non-rational side of the brain through art, we can get people to take notice of these things.
I think we've learnt the role of the artist in society today is really shifting and changing, and our role is to contribute to and to comment and stimulate a dialogue on the greatest issues of our time that we're collectively facing.